Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Realty 411's Radio Invest Wisely segment. We're really happy that you're joining us today, and we promise we're going to make this segment worthwhile for you and share plenty of tips, strategies, and information to take your real estate investing business to the next level. Now, today we're going to learn from Brandon Cobb with the House Buyin Guys in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to discover how Brandon was able to make the transition from his stable corporate career to becoming one of Nashville's busiest wholesalers and rehabber in just a few years. Now, Brandon's company, the House Buyin Guys, has been able to successfully sustain and even grow during the pandemic and chaos of 2020. How has he done it? Well, we're going to discover that today. Hi, Brandon. How are you? Welcome to our show.
Hey, Linda. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Oh, doing well. Thank you so much. I also wanted to mention that the House Buyin Guys is owned by you, Brandon Cobb, and your co-founder, Vagiv Sidov, who have been wholesaling houses to other investors, rehabbing tons of properties, and creating win-win solutions for investors and homeowners in Middle Tennessee. So we're really excited to learn from you today, Brandon.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Hopefully I can shed a little bit of knowledge that might help some people get to where they're going a little bit faster.
Absolutely. Well, I have no doubt in my mind that you can do this because you really have just skyrocketed your career in a very short amount of time, and we're going to learn about that. Now, your background is very interesting because you were in medical sales prior to becoming a full-time real estate investor. Now, I do know that medical sales is a lucrative and, highly regarded professional career. Were you nervous leaving such a solid career path and making the transition into something so such a roller coaster ride like real estate investing?
Yes, the short answer is yes. I was very, very nervous, and honestly, I wasn't prepared for it because I loved what I did in medical sales. Specifically, I sold orthopedic implants in the sports medicine division, so I dealt mainly with sports medicine surgeons who do knees and shoulders and work on athletes. But the transition was very abrupt and unexpected. I actually got let go from my medical sales job very unexpectedly. One Friday in June, it was spring, and things seemed to be going well, but my boss let me go, and that pretty much started the next step and what sparked my real estate career. I was very nervous. I had no clue what I was doing, and basically started going to all these real estate meetups. I think I read a book or two, and just knew I had to get out there and start doing. My biggest chokehold on me was analysis paralysis. I was thinking, well, maybe if I just read one more book, I'll be ready. Just one more book and not taking action. Well, I completely flipped it and said, I'm not going to read anything. I'm not going to read anymore. I'm just going to go out there and do. And, I can get into more of that if you want to on the transition and how we did it. But I was completely nervous. I had no clue what I was doing, and it was very abrupt and unexpected.
Wow. Oh, boy. So you definitely had to, learn really quickly. And now looking back, I'm sure that you acquired many skills in your medical sales training that you applied to your new real estate investing career. Can you touch upon that?
Yeah. So the thing about medical device sales, it is very, very competitive. Most people that you're going up against in that industry were usually in the top 10% of their previous job in sales performance. So the industry attracts very ambitious, very highly motivated people that thrive on competition. So it is extremely cutthroat. And I always joke with, a lot of people who, back when I was in the industry, I had a lot of people approach me about getting into medical device sales, and they said, well, how would you do it? How did you do it? What can I do? And I like to joke. I said, well, first you need to be prepared for it, because it's really not a career; it's more of a lifestyle. So know that first. But that lifestyle did teach me a lot of fantastic skills, especially around sales, that I was able to bring over to the real estate world, and that's really what allowed me to thrive, because real estate's really competitive, but medical device sales is extremely competitive. So, and I'll share a couple of things that I did. So the biggest thing in real estate, especially if you're in a market where, you own a business and you're marketing for motivated sellers, I think it's safe to say that, most people who are in the real estate business are seeking out motivation, because that's where you find, deals. You're looking for distressed assets. And so there's a lot of small things that I would do, especially in the sales process, that would allow me to win deals when my competitors were actually making higher offers to these sellers. And those differentiating factors, I can specifically say, came from medical device sales. So one would be the sales process. So when I was going on a lot of these appointments with motivated sellers, when I started out, I was the sales rep, right? I was the one-man army, answering the phones, doing the marketing, going on the appointments, going out to find the money. I was literally doing it all. And what I found is on these appointments, people do business with people they like and people they trust. And I found this very interesting. Just to succeed in medical device sales, just to set the bar, you got to have really good skills on how to build deep rapport with surgeons who are extremely busy and extremely difficult to get a hold of. And you really got to be able to identify, who's got a hold of the surgeon's, ear. Who else is that person who's involved in the decision-making process. Well, I took that same approach with my sellers. When I came in there, there was a no BS approach. I wasn't there just trying to get their business. When I would go into a call with a surgeon, I genuinely cared about his business. I genuinely cared about the patient, and I would tell him, hey, look, if he asked me what product to use on a specific surgery and I knew a competitor's product worked, I'd tell him that. And I'd say, hey, look, man, honestly, in this situation for this type of procedure, if it were my mom on the table, I would go with this product. It just happens to, not be mine for X, Y, and Z reason. And I would do that with the sellers. I would go in and I would genuinely care about their situation, and it would come off as being very genuine. You could tell that I was invested in their situation and what they needed. And when you build rapport and somebody knows that you genuinely care about them, the walls come down. The walls come down. They will open up about their situation on what they have going on and what they need help with. Usually you have to ask why at least 7 different times to get down to the real motivation of why someone's making the decision to sell their home. And unless you break down those walls first, you're not going to be able to get into the heart of their problem. So I'll give you an example of this. So you could go on a sales call with a seller and say, okay, well, why are you selling your home? Oh, I just want to get an offer, and I'm moving. Okay, you're moving. Okay, yep. Here's the house. Let me show you. Let me show you all these repairs, and the seller tries to kind of push the appointment along. Well, you can't do that. Same thing with doctors. Doctors would try to push that appointment along, and you got to say, no, hang on one second. I'm going to give you a chance to show me the house, show me all the repairs you've done to it, show me all the stuff that needs to get fixed. But really, first, I want to understand your situation, and I want to understand, where you're coming from first and what it really is you need help with. So is it okay if I ask you a few questions first? And now you've got their permission to ask them some questions. And that why 7 times is really key, because you ask, well, okay, again, tell me a little bit. And again, I don't want to feel like I'm prying here, but again, I want to help you. Why are you selling your home? Well, as I told you, I wanted to move somewhere. Okay, great. Well, fantastic. What's going on? Did you get a promotion? Are you moving somewhere to be closer with family? What's the reason for your move? Well, I'm actually, moving out west to be a little closer with my family. Okay, that's fantastic. Who specifically? Oh, it's actually, my grandkids. Well, great. Well, why are you moving out there to be closer with your grandkids, if you don't mind me asking? Well, honestly, I really want to spend a little bit more time with them, and I felt like I haven't spent a whole lot of time with them, and that's really important to me. Hey, I totally understand. We only have so much time on this planet, and we want to spend it with loved ones. If you don't mind, kind of pry a little bit more. Why are you in such a rush to move out there? You mentioned you needed to close in 2 weeks, and you really need to get this done. Well, I've actually, found out just 2 months ago that I've got cancer, and I only have 9 months to live, and so I really want to spend those last months with my kids. Boom, and that's when you get to the heart of the issue, and you don't get there unless you really try and you open up and you get into, what is the real reason why they're selling. And once you have that real reason out, now you've got, the pain points, and you can revert back to those pain points, just like you would in a surgeon's call. When you're doing these deep diving, doing this deep analysis into their needs, you can now solve the problem. But you can't get to that step until you've built rapport with them and they genuinely know that you're interested in helping them. So that's the first step. Once you've established that, the walls come down and you can actually get into the heart, which is, the needs analysis. So that was kind of the top level approach I would take. Now, once I was into this process and I completed stage 1 and I built rapport and they knew I cared, and I'd completed stage 2, which was understanding their needs, understanding their situation, getting down to the motivation. Now they're getting emotional about this, right? And the surgeons do the exact same thing. They genuinely care about their patients. So when I'm doing this needs analysis and I'm asking these very deep questions, what do you like about your current service you're getting from your current orthopedic rep that you're using? What do you like about their products? What do you like most? What do you not like about using the product? What are you most unhappy with in the procedure? Now they're telling you all the pain points, and they're giving you what you need to deliver. In other words, once you understand what their pain points are, now you can use the benefits that your product, or in this case, if you're dealing with motivated sellers, what your services can do to help them. So once I understand that this person's need is to sell fast because they need to be at home with their family, I can help transition that. Maybe I can help them with some moving costs. Maybe I can help them with getting the house in order, letting them know, hey, you can leave all the stuff in here. You don't have to take the time and headache to clean it. We can take care of that. We can pay cash. We can close in 2 weeks if you need a little bit of time in the home till you move out. We can help out with that. But you can't get to that point unless you've completed the prior sales process with these sellers. So what would happen as I'm going through this sales process, these people would know that I genuinely cared, that I understood their needs, and I had a solid value proposition on how I could solve their needs. So now I'm no longer just another offer, right? I'm not just some person coming on the appointment, leaving the car running outside, going in, running through the repairs, and then giving them an offer. I'm a human being. And human beings, it's important to know, they make emotional decisions and then they rationalize it. And I can give you a bunch of examples of this, but, we tend to think rationally and justify something rationally. I think a classic example of men doing this would be, hey, why'd you buy that nice sports car? It's just a hunk of metal that gets you from point A to point B, just like any other. But if you ask them why, they might say, oh, I really like the car, it got a great warranty, blah, 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 blah. All rational reasons that come from the prefrontal lobe, the cortex. When really, they made an emotional decision to buy that car. They bought it because it makes them feel important, and they feel cool when they're driving it, which is totally fine. But that applies to all our decision-making processes. So when these sellers are making a decision, or when these surgeons are making a decision, they're going to make an emotional decision, and then they're going to rationalize it. So unless you can tap into the heart of those people's emotions, then you're not going to get that sell. And medical sales taught me how to do that, and I brought that over into the real estate industry, and it really allowed me to thrive because when people know you care, they would actually go with my offer even though they had higher offers.
Wow, very nice. Great insight.
If you want me to touch on anything specifically on there, let me know.
Well, that was fantastic insight, Brandon. And I know that your approach is definitely working because in a very short time, you've gotten to a very high level in the real estate investing industry. Can you share with us some of the numbers and some of the, volume deals that your company is doing now?
Sure. So we do anywhere between 40 and 50 residential fix and flips or wholesales in Middle Tennessee. I think that amounts to anywhere between $8 million to $10.5 million worth of revenue. We're getting a whole lot better. My goal next year is to do 65 flips, which I think will be between 15 and 18 million in revenue. And trying to think of what other top level numbers I could give you. I mean, that's pretty much the nuts and bolts. Is there anything specific you want in those numbers?
So you said 8 to 9 million a year?
About 8 to 10.5 million currently, and the goal next year is to do roughly 18 million in revenue.
Oh my goodness! And then you also mentioned to another colleague of mine that you were expanding possibly in 2021 to include additional markets. Is that correct?
We are trying to venture out into other markets. Yeah, we've eyeballed some other cities in Tennessee that look attractive, and we're really hoping by mid-2021 that we can expand into those other markets if everything goes well.
And just to give our listeners an idea, how quickly how far you've come in such a short amount of time. Can you share with us just how long, how many years it took to get to the level that you're at right now?
Sure. So let's see. I moved to Nashville, I think roughly, I want to say 6.5 years ago. It might be on year 7. And, spent the first 2 years doing medical device sales, and then got let go from my job. So we've been doing this for roughly 4.5 years.
That's amazing. That really is amazing, and I congratulate you. I mean, that is a phenomenal growth in a short amount of time. I've interviewed so many companies in the real estate investing industry, and I'm just really proud of you guys because those are really incredible numbers. So obviously your approach of truly caring and being genuine with distressed sellers is making a big difference because the numbers prove that.
It is. You got to figure out a way to differentiate, and the market for motivated sellers was really hungry for a real estate company to be able to come in and actually genuinely care about their situation and what they need. A lot of these people are just so used to just showing up and someone lowballing them that they really needed that human element on the appointments. And I believe that that's a big reason why we've been able to thrive.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Now, I want to also touch upon the fact that your company has also branched out, not into different locations right now, but into different divisions. So one of the ways that you're able to generate so much revenue is because you're also, performing in other areas as well, such as you have a wholesale division now. Then you mentioned that you have a construction division as well. Can you share about, how this came about and why you decided to diversify?
Yeah, absolutely. So the backbone of the business has always been wholesaling. So when I first got started, and I highly recommend people do not do this and make the same mistake. If I can teach you one thing or prevent any fallacies in your approach to go into real estate investing, it's try one thing at a time. I did the stupidest thing you do. We started doing everything. We were doing wholesaling. We were doing rehabs. We serviced everywhere. We even did a little bit of new construction our first year, which was just crazy. And I'm very thankful for all this. I mean, I made every mistake you could possibly mistake in the book. I mean, if a mistake is there, if there's a book of mistakes, I've made every single one when I started out, and even lost some money on a deal. But what I learned was absolutely invaluable. So it really wasn't until we drilled down and said, "Hey, look, we're doing all these different things. It's way too much to manage. This is just crazy." And year one, we decided after year one we were doing everything, and we had a crazy year. Year two, we really focused down and said, all right, let's drill down and let's have a strategy. And that strategy is let's start wholesaling properties that are too far away and that may require, the amount of work that we don't want to do. Maybe it's, a 100-year-old home. We tend to stay away from those. We like stuff that's built, 1965 and newer. And we're going to rehab the ones that are 1965 and newer, so the ones that aren't quite as scary. So that's how it started. And it evolved where we just kept pumping money back into the company. We kept investing in the company, and I kept investing in me. So, I personally spend, 5 figures a year on my education. I love learning. I love buying educational products, and that started paying dividends. So the rehabbing business really evolved out of a very chaotic, we're all over the place approach. And then we narrowed our focus into the types of homes and the locations that we like investing in, and had a filter, had a criteria for what we were looking for. And now, most of our business is rehabbing, but if we do get a property that, let's say, isn't a good fit for us, let's say we have, maybe too much on our plate, or it just doesn't fit the strategy, we have a list of investors, we call them our cash buyers list, that we will blast that property out to. And a lot of times it moves so fast because Middle Tennessee is such a hot market. Everybody is wanting to invest here. I mean, even international parties are coming in and buying stuff up in Nashville, Davidson County areas. And a lot of our clients that we end up selling these properties off to are clients that are out of state. They're in some of those more expensive markets like New York and California, where you can't find good investment properties because everything's so expensive. So that's sort of how the wholesale and rehab division evolved. But the construction company really evolved out of our own need for a good contractor. So if anybody's ever rehabbed houses before, whether you're doing rental properties or you're doing fix and flips, I would say that 100%, unless you are just stinking lucky, have had contractor problems. I mean, it is a huge, huge issue in this industry, is finding good contractors. So our need to create a construction company evolved out of our need to find a good, reliable contractor. And, we had a lot of people reach out to us that saw what we were doing, and they said, hey, can you rehab our properties? And I was, no, I don't really want to do that. I don't think we're ready for that. And, earlier this year, it got to the point where we said, hey, I think, we want to branch out into this and just slowly do it. And at first, we definitely went straight head on into that market. And at first, we bit off a little bit more than we could chew. And so we scaled it back a little bit and said, hey, we're only going to do 1 to 2 rehabs for other people, a month in Middle Tennessee with our construction company. And, so far after we kind of scaled back, and bit off a little bit, bit off the amount that we could chew, it's been working out so far. So our need for a construction company evolved out of our own personal need with our house flipping company to have a good contractor.
Wonderful. Very good. Now, Brandon, I know that our listeners are wanting to get involved in the Nashville market and wanting to reach out to you. So can you please share with us your contact information?
Yeah, let me see. So I'm on Facebook. You can Google Brandon Cobb, Nashville. I'm not sure how many other Brandon Cobbs there are, so that's one way to find me. My email is Brandon, how it sounds, Brandon @ thehousebuyin guys.com. with one G. So it's spelled the, T-H-E, House, H-O-U-S-E, Buyin, that's B-U-Y-I-N, and then guys, G-U-Y-S.com. So Brandon at thehousebuyin.guys.com, and there's only one G, so no G on the end of Buyin. That's the best way to reach me. Then my phone number, if someone wants to contact me, is 615-338-9919. Yeah, those would be the best methods.
Wonderful. So it's nice to know that you're actively wholesaling deals to investors. I know that there's a lot of listeners that are going to want to give you a call and, get that hookup so they can start wholesaling those deals to their members and their network as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We offer a variety of services to other investors in Middle Tennessee, and, we're always looking for people to work with.
Awesome. Now, please share with us some tips or some advice that you have for some new investors that may be listening who want to replicate your success and go from, starting point A to building a $9 million company in a matter of 4 years. I mean, that really is incredible. How can they replicate that?
Things I would recommend is, one, invest in yourself. So educate yourself. You have to invest in your education. It's really funny. In America, we have this negative financial perspective on educational products. Like, we have no problem going out and dropping $150, $200 on a dinner once a week, which adds up to like $1,000 a month, which could be up to $10,000 a year just on going out to eat. But they won't spend a couple $100 or several $1,000s on an educational course that can literally save them or make them tens of thousands of dollars. So I would, do your research on educational products and find something that's a good fit for your goals and what you're looking for, one. So invest in you. Two is find a mentor. So that's pretty much what I did when I was starting out. I go, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I need to go find somebody who does. And then once you find a mentor, the biggest issue people have is, well, how do I make them my mentor? You know what I'm saying? That's tough. So here's how you do that. You provide insane amounts of value to them. Figure out what their goals are, align your goals with theirs, and make it happen. When I was first starting out, I was bringing people deals that knew what they were doing. I would go out and find the deals and bring it to them and say, hey, I want to learn. I need you to teach me. Here's the deal. Let's do it together. And that's how I basically got to where I was going and figured it out. I just surrounded myself with people who knew what they were doing, knew a lot more than me, provided value to them, and learned from them. So the second thing would be find a mentor and add insane amounts of value to their life.
Wonderful. Fantastic advice. Thank you so much for great tips. What about for those that are listening that are already doing a few deals this year? They want to take it to the next level. Any insight for them? Not newbies, but for those that are already in the trenches.
What should people in the trenches do to take themselves to the next level?
Yeah.
Invest in your business. Again, it's kind of it's kind of the same advice that I'd give a newbie, to be honest with you, because it doesn't matter where you are in the process. There's somebody out there that's doing bigger and better things more efficiently than you, and the way you scale fast and get to what they're doing is to replicate what they're doing. And to replicate what they're doing, you have to get in touch with them. And, again, you have to provide insane amounts of value to them in order to get that information. I think it was Zig Ziglar, maybe someone else. I think it's Zig Ziglar. He said that the way, and I'm going to butcher this quote, but bear with me. I think he said that in order for you, if you figure out how to give enough people what they want in life, then you'll get what you want in life. something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I think that advice applies to anybody, no matter how big you're doing things or where you're at in your business.
Wonderful. Well, great, Brandon. We're all out of time. It went by so quickly. We're going to have to invite you back for another session just to talk about the Nashville market and Middle Tennessee area and, you know, what's going on there. So maybe you can come back in next week or in a couple of weeks and share more insight.
Yeah, absolutely. If if anybody is interested in reaching out about the wholesale opportunities that we have, we're always looking to add people to our cash buyers list. We've got other opportunities to invest and make passive income for accredited investors who, don't want to do the work to find rental properties or do the work to do fix and flip. So we've got a lot of different options out there. Reach out to me if you're interested in these opportunities, and I appreciate your time, Linda.
Oh, well, thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate your time as well and all the tips and strategies to help our listeners start or scale their real estate investing business. So thanks again. That was Brandon Cobb with the House Buyin Guys in Nashville, Tennessee. I want to thank everyone for listening. We really appreciate you, and please visit our website. We update our website on a regular basis. We have two amazing websites, realty411.com and reiwealthmag.com. And we're featuring Brandon Cobb on the cover of REI Wealth Magazine right now. So please go to the website, check it out, read his story. He's got an amazing story to share, and we interview him and wrote a wonderful article on our website with many more details about Brandon Cobb and his business, the House Buyin Guys. So thank you again, Brandon. Thanks everyone for listening, and make it a great day. Bye-bye.